Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'm your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you my best budget team for the Great League Remix for Season 11. So, the good thing about Great League Remix, there's still some picks out here which only cost you 10k dust for the second move. Unfortunately, one of these do feature a legacy move. I'm using Wish Cash, Beedrill. Beedrill's the one with the legacy move. Drill Run, you do kind of need Drill Run for Beedrill. That's how it's able to cover things like Registeel and other things like electric types, etc. So, yes, you need Drill Run, Beedrill. But Beedrill still only costs 10k dust for the second move, and Beedrill can be used for other leagues as well as this last one. Now, this last one, you might not use it as much as others. However, this is a regular Diggersby. Yes, it's not an XL. Level 40 Diggersby is still incredibly powerful in the Great League Remix. Not only does it win CMP against other Diggersby, but you're going to see here just how effective it can be. And the good thing about it is that you can actually use that one you got from research, etc. For example, the one I have at 15, 13, 15 is actually a rank 2. So it's going to cost you less dust to power up, and it's only 10k dust for the second move. But you're going to see me use it to great effect here in the Great League Remix. But before we get started, my therapist mental health tip of the day, it is going to be, I've been harping on anxiety a lot, but it's only because Go Battle season came up, but also GoFest is coming too for the next 2 days. Me personally, I don't feel anxious that I'm going to really miss it or play it super hard. There isn't really anything in GoFest as of right now that really makes me want to jump out of my seat, nor the shiny dopamine effect. I'm kind of over it. So I don't get that anxious feeling about missing events anymore or anything like that as far as community days, etc. So if you want to do this, or if you want to help curb your anxiety or treat it, yes, you can treat anxiety. Many anxiety treatments are treatable. So what is the cycle of anxiety? And again, I'm going to put this research below on the description. So this is from Therapist Aid, of course, it's one of the most goated and free resources for therapists or psychotherapists worldwide. So what is cycle of anxiety? So the cycle of anxiety is uncomfortable symptoms of anxiety feel too much. One of the simplest way to feel better is avoidance, which means you avoid the source of anxiety or you numb the experience of uncomfortable feelings. The good news is the avoidance works for a little bit, so it's temporary. So when people tell you something's okay when it's not and you're anxious about it, it temporarily works. The bad news is the relief that avoidance brings is temporary, and anxiety tends to come back worse than ever. So that's the bad news. So when you tend to avoid the anxious thing, it comes back and it bites you in the butt worse than ever. It's like Go Battle League, for example. For those of you that are really anxious when you battle, this can be overcome, because what happens is that usually there's one point where you're stuck at. Again, I'm going to do another video on this, but it's basically to do that is battling as much as possible. Even if you can't hit the battle button or you feel like you're not good enough, if you run through your battles and you figure out that, hey, I'm okay, then you shouldn't really, you actually helping helping face your anxiety rather than avoid it. So Go Battle League battles, at the end of the day, usually when you're done, you're like tired, you're breathing, you're like, oh my god, maybe I'll lag or anything like that. Just battle. If you battle and you don't react to anything, and you acknowledge that everything is going to be okay after the fact that you battle, because seriously, if this isn't a team sport, esport, or anything like that, and 9 times out of 10, even if you're in a tournament or whatever, at the end of the day, you will be okay when you battle. It's not like you're fighting for your life or this is like Sparta. Yeah. But basically, cycle of anxiety is a process where a person avoids their feels as those feels grow increasingly powerful. Yes, when you avoid your anxious tendencies, or when you avoid that, guess what? It comes back even stronger. So people that are scared of losing in Go Battle League are like, I'm super competitive, so I get really angry or think I lose. That's actually a sign of anxiety. It's not good that you're avoiding those feelings, are facing those feelings and recognizing that you're okay. Whether or not you lose or not, you're all right. Because for me, well, this is kind of true for mindfulness, whether you win or lose, it's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, bad things are going to happen to you in life, and whether you like it or not, or whether you want it or not, good things are going to happen to you in life. So many anxiety treatments work by breaking this cycle. You focus on facing fears rather than avoid them. So like Go Battle League, when people are like for example, content creators that are really scared to tell people that like, oh my gosh, this game's going to go away because you know, if we keep talking about lag, they're not going to want to play it because the game's going to lag. Well, guess what? If a game lags, guess what? That person probably is going to play it anyways. And the way Go Battle League works, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people nowadays, or at least children that I know, that are very willing to play and grind as much as they possibly can, like in Go Battle League, so that they can compete in the game. Unfortunately, that's just a cycle, and I used to be anxious about it, but guess what? I'm not anymore, because it is what it is. So yes, there's also a video on this resource, so if you want to take a look at it, our mental health counselor, or I think he's like an LPCC or professional clinical counselor, he will explore it. So there's a 4-minute video here if you want to check it out, and you can use it. Hopefully this tool does help you out. Without further ado, this is my best budget team for the Great League Remix Season 11, and let's get started. Alright, here are the battles. This is a full budget team. All 3 of these only cost 10k dust. And yes, that is a non-XL Diggersby. It was actually a rank 2 I caught for the Catch Cup for last season, and it's hilarious. And you're going to see it used now because, yes, you see that Diggersby has Hyper Beam. We get Cofrigrigus into our Wish Cash, and you actually don't win this. Yeah, you can mud bomb to death all you want, but those Shadow Balls are going to hurt a lot. So you have to be really, really careful. Well, you do win this, but it really depends on like what you want to do, because those Shadow Balls are going to chunk like a mother. So as you see here, these mud bombs are going to ball out, are absolutely ball out like Attack on Titan. You know what I mean? If you watch Attack on Titan, there's these things called Thunder Spears, and we're not bringing the thunder, but we're going to bomb everything you low and love, including your shields and your elo, which now exists because it's now season 11. So we broke his shield. So there's 2 choices I have here. One, my opponent switches out and catches a mud bomb, or I catch the... Yeah, I was like, oh my god, are you serious? I was anticipating. So I'm gonna switch to Diggersby. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because my opponent's like, oh, he probably miss-switched. So, no, it wasn't a miss-switched. In fact, there is something I'm going to do here. I'm going to gather up all the energy, I'm going to yell the words Turtle Wave, and then I'm going to beam the unholy crap out of your stupid super meta burb, which is about to be hashtag getbeamed, baby. Here comes a Hyper Beam, comes to my opponent does not shield. Now, I go for one, and I'm like, hashtag get beamed, and I should go for another one, but instead I elect to do something else here, which I'm going to kind of regret later. As you see here, we can just comfortably, even though Diggersby isn't an XL here, it can still comfortably take these moves, and Hyper Beam does a ridiculous amount of damage when you're not an XL. So, as you see here, we're going to go for double Fire Punch. I should have just went for Hyper Beam, to be honest with you. Should have went for the beam, double beam, more disrespect, but instead I'm gonna 1-2 punch the crap out of your own face, like, you know, like, what you call it, like Fist of the North Star, except it's going to be 2 punches instead of 1 punch. I'm going to switch out into Beedrill, get a little more extra energy here, and then they send in Registeel, which is actually fine in this sense. I should be able to get to a drill run before this Registeel does, and this is a little dangerous though. I still have Wish Cash for this Registeel, but I gave up Switch. But 2 drill runs will KO this Registeel, so I have to be very, very careful here. I'm going to build up to another drill run, but I'm going to bait this time around. I know I have to get a Mud Bomb through here, because I might not be able to get to 2 here. And my opponent switches to Cofrigrigus, so they're going to Shadow Ball the crap out of me. And they're being very fancy right now. Shadow Ball goes off, I have to fire an X-Scissor, but I'm actually getting a little more energy here. I should be able to get to a second drill run, or I'm going to have to send in Diggersby, and Diggersby's, well, actually I have Wish Cash, so never mind. There's Registeel, and all we're going to do is we're going to Mud Bomb here. Now Registeel is going to be able to Focus Blast. However, I should have enough HP left on my Diggersby to where it should be able to Fire Punch down this Registeel. Don't ask how I do it. This was calculated on the second half of my brain, you know what I mean? It's like if you watch Death Note, it's an amazing anime. This is my light Yagami coming out from me, and me trying to analyze the situation like a detective and trying to dodge my opponent. Well, not dodge them, but as you see here, I'm able to get to a Fire Punch. That was 2 ways I could win. One, I could roll out the clock like this. Well, I would have to Fire Punch him to death anyways, but that was my win condition, and that's GG's. So, yes, I was like, I was thinking for a second of who to bring in, but my brain was like, oh, wait, hold on. You know what? I think Diggersby is good enough. Yes, and XL, even though both matters. Yeah, as you see, I was still able to come up with the W. We got legend on legend action. We got Froslass versus Wish Cash, and this is terrible for us. The reason being is because we lose CMP. 3 avalanches will be enough to KO Wishcash here. So I have to be really careful. You got to make sure you don't get any extra powder snows through your charge moves. So mud bombs are going to go off like no tomorrow, but again, you actually lose this pretty hard because of the fact that Froslass wins CMP. Even though Mud Bomb is insanely powerful, it takes you 4 Mud Bombs in comparison to their 3 Avalanches. And again, they win CMP, so it's very, very dangerous for you. Here comes another Mud Bomb, and then as you see, my opponent does elect to shield, and they want to stay in this matchup because they know they win it pretty convincingly. Straight Avalanche, and it's going to take me 4 Mud Bombs to KO this Froslass. Actually, I think 5, because you need to break both shields. No. Yeah. I think 4, but my math is all off. My opponent catches my other Mud Bomb too, so I'm like, really, bro? But this is perfectly fine. Y'all already know what we're going to do. We're going to send in Beedrill, and then we're going to drill run the unholy crap out of this Wishcash. I don't want to lose Diggersby just because of the fact that we have... Well, actually, this was kind of a miswitch on my part, but the reason... You're going to see why I'm going to save Diggersby in a bit. So the reason I'm saving Diggersby here is because I figured Diggersby might have a better matchup than Beedrill in the back. Blizzard's gonna go off. This is going to nearly kill our Beedrill, and because you know, IVs only matter when they matter. And at this point, it did matter, because that's a rank 4 Beedrill. My rank 4 Beedrill is able to X-scissor its way to victory, and then, as you see here, we win Switch, which doesn't really objectively matter. I'm going to send in Wishcash, and I'm going to fire off this Mud Bomb. Avalanche is going to go off, however, Avalanche actually won't kill at this point. As you see here, Avalanche goes off, and I live with a little slither of HP. We're going to fire this Mud Bomb, grab the second shield, and then I should be able to send in Diggersby, and a Fire Punch will be enough to KO. I will get the because Froslass is energy dry, there's no way this Froslass will outpace me to to Avalanche. Fire Punch goes off, and now we're in the back row matchup. As you see, Fire Punch goes off, and my intuition was correct. My subconscious took me to the promised land because back is a Stunfisk. Stunfisk comes in, and as you see here, we're going to go straight for the beam. And unfortunately, my opponent does not respect the beam, and they just happen to top left, which is GG's. Which is actually really upsetting because I really wanted to beam this dude because I flexed super hard on you. But yeah, we went. Yeah, that was super sweet. Oh my god, that's not even the best battle. So, as you see here, we lose the lead. Again, we got freaking Politoed against our Wishcash. And as you know here, Politoed wins CMP because it only takes 4 mud shots to get to a weather ball. So this is terrible for us. As you see here, we're going to fire off these mud bombs like no tomorrow. But our opponent is going to have a bazillion energy ready to throw at us. So we have to be really, really careful. Now the question is this an Earthquake Politoed or is it a Blizzard Politoed? Usually, I figure the Shadow variants aren't really carrying Earthquake that much just because of the fact that Weather Balls do so much damage as a Shadow, as you see here. And even though Shadows don't operate the same way they do in the main series games, no, seriously. Shadow Pokemon are supposed to be purified, and that's how they get stronger. If you're a Shadow, you can't even gain XP. So, Pokemon Go goes away from Gale of Darkness and Coliseum. Yes, I'm going to bitch about this a bazillion times. Yes, I will curse in that instance because of the fact that this is not how the game works. Pokemon Go is just special, and yeah, and it's just, you don't need a higher barrier to entry with Shadow Pokemon. You really don't. We're going to fire off this second Mud Bomb. Our opponent switches into an Ariados, and all we're going to do is we're going to send in Diggersby. Diggersby, even though if it's hit by a lunge, Hyper Beam should be enough to KO here. Or actually, yeah, I'm gonna go for the beam. I should Fire Punch, but like, you know, hashtag get beamed. And then, but a lunge, a debuff Diggersby won't KO in this instance. So as you see, I'm just gonna go straight for the beam. But at this point, I figured, you know what, let me just go for the punch. But I'm hoping this doesn't go through because I'm double lunged. So as you see here, I go straight for the beam. I try to catch it, but I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to win on CMP, and it does go on CMP. Hyper Beam goes off, hashtag get beamed. Here is my final flash, as in Vegito, or no, Vegeta, not Vegito. If you watch Dragon Ball, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Final Flash is Vegeta's signature move. Or maybe Gallic Gun, which one's cooler? I don't know. Big Bang sounds cooler. I'm not going to lie, but Big Bang's like one shot. It's not like a beam, you know what I mean? Now we got Celio. Now, as you see here, I'm going to fire off this X-Scissor, but I have to, my only win condition is to sack. This Shadow Celio is going to end my life if I don't do it correctly, and I sack! Let's go, baby! I'm going to sacrifice my Wishcash like James did when he kicked his Magikarp into the ocean, when he thought it was shiny, but it's not. Dang. That's a really valid that's a really good reference, yeah. For those that don't know, in the regular Pokemon anime, James actually kicked his Magikarp. He bought a Magikarp thinking it was gold. And like here, I'm going to win CMP. So he thought he won, but in fact he actually lost. Because once the Magikarp got washed up, he figured out that the Magikarp wasn't actually a shiny Magikarp. It was not solid gold. What happened was that Magikarp turned into a Gyarados, called its brethren, then used one of the most overpowered Dragon Rages I've ever seen in all of existence. No, your Dragon Rage isn't supposed to summon 7 Gyaradoses to kill you, but unfortunately it did, and unfortunately that's GG's for James in that episode. And then and actually for Ash too, because they were caught in that squabble. But enough about that. We got AWAC into Whiscash, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna switch out into our Beedrill. Beedrill is your primary safe switch here. But it's kind of, this is really iffy because it's Vigoroth into Beedrill. I should be able to win using straight X-Scissor, but as you see here, a little bit of extra energy on Viggy is incredibly dangerous, which is why I'm trying to make sure this Vigoroth doesn't get any extra counters through, so it doesn't really screw me up. X is just going to go off. I'm going to try to interval and farm this thing down, and we managed to farm down this Viggy, which is absolutely amazing. And then we get this Marowak. The reason why they let me farm down anyways, or like rather they didn't really shield or anything, is because Alolan Marowak's going to get some extra energy here. We still have a good convincing matchup, and this isn't a shadow. But I'm trying to make it so that I kind of like, if my opponent isn't counting, or if they don't know, they're probably going to double shield here, and they do. A drone would really hurt in that instance, so I understand why. We're going to send in Whiscash, and Whiscash is going to fire a Mud Bomb. This is probably going to be a Shadow Bone, and even if though it isn't a Shadow AWAC, this is still going to do a lot of damage, especially if it does get the debuff, and that is a shiny Alolan Marowak. Remember, shinies do more damage, so you should shield shinies more than regular Pokemon. That's a lie. Shinies don't do much damage, but yeah. So we get a Whiscash into our Diggersby, and I am screaming right now because all we gotta do is we're going to hashtag get beamed. This is probably a Mud Bomb and we get jebaited, but it's okay. We're not here to win the battle, we're here to win the war, but we're gonna win the battle anyways because that's how good I am at this game. So we're going to gather all of our energy. We're going to call it against this. We're going to put it in the palm, and then we're going to go ahead and hashtag get beamed. Get beamed, you stupid daddy cash. Today you will not take my load. You will not take my money, and this Blitter is going to hurt a lot. However, because I'm still in the green, this shouldn't KO. I should be able to get to a Fire Punch, but I'm actually just going to straight Mud Bomb here. So as you see, I'm Mud Bombing, and straight Mud Shotting. Because I don't want this Marowak to farm. We get to another beam, and you're like, really, King of Charmander? Is yes. Hashtag get beamed ×2. The double beam goes through. That does a lot less damage than I thought, but we should be able to get to another Mud Bomb here, and that's GG's. I will absolutely disrespect my opponents with the beam. You do it for the beam. You do it for the beam. Beam always. Or what PV Poke likes to say, don't let your beams be dreams. But you know what? We kind of like went away from beams nowadays, because beams got a lot less fun because go Battle League meta. Yeah. Or rather, beams aren't as powerful as they were before. I'm here to prove you wrong, though. As you see, beams are incredibly powerful. We beam down Daddy Cash. You're not here to take my money. My Daddy Cash is going to take this part's money, though, because we got another AWAC into our Whiscash, and then we got another Viggy. I'm like, really, dude? Another one? You already know how this story goes. So all we're going to do is we're just going to literally, we're just going to do what we did before. We're going to send in Beedrill. We're going to straight X-Scissor down. Going to absolutely disrespect our opponents and try to take their soul. Well, you don't want to take their soul. Well, yeah. X-Scissor goes off. We do a ton of damage against Viggy. We're going to keep trying to X-Scissor the unholy crap out of our opponent. And we're going to shield the first mud. Yeah, we're going to shield the first body slam, and we're going to try to farm down. But I'm a little careful here. I'm trying to get a little extra energy. I'm trying to catch him on CMP, and I do. So, X-Scissor goes off. This will KO. Our opponent is going to elect to shield, which will allow us to farm down if they do. So, our opponent is going to do what they did before. They're going to send in their Alolan Marowak, but unfortunately, this is a Shadow Alolan Marowak. So, those Fire Spins do more damage, so we can't get that double shield bait like we did before. But we're able to grab a shield anyways. So, we're going to send in Whiscash, we're going to fire off the Mud Bomb, and it does go through. Our opponent's either going to shield or let this through, but because that's a Shadow AWAC, this is going to do some big damage. The bomb's going to go through, it's going to be like an Elephant Stampede, and our opponent's probably going to fire a Shadow Bone here. Shadow Bone's going to go off, it's going to do big damage. Still, it's going to put Whiscash into the yellow, and it does, and then our opponent sends in a Registeel. This is where Beam... So here's why you don't need Earthquake. Because Fire Punch, you beat Registeel straight Fire Punch. As you see here, we're just going to straight fire punch, and we do big damage, especially since the fact that my Diggersby isn't an XL. Well, even if you do have a non-XL versus an XL, you should be able to just straight fire punch through. As you see, I eat the Focus Blast, which sounds a lot dangerous, but because Diggersby is decently thick, despite the fact that it's not an XL, these fire punches are going to do a ton of damage. And we should be able to only have to shield one more, unless my opponent elects doesn't to shield this one, because this will KO, unless my opponent wants to shield just so that they can preserve it for AWAC, because AWAC can go ahead and farm me down here. So as you see, we're going to get this is going to be a Focus Blast. I'm going to let it through. I'm going to save my shield, and all I got to do is double up on these Mud Bombs, and that's GG's. With a good amount of energy management, you could come out with win cons like this. Mud Bomb will go off, and all I have to do, I still have a shield, and this is game. As you see here, with extra energy management and with the beams, you can have a ton of fun. And with this budget team, you too can come out with the W. My opponent tops up because they already know it's already over. And this is game. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles. This is my budget team for the Great League Remix. And that's GG's. I'm going to keep the ending pretty short because this was a long video. And GoFest is probably starting for you soon. Or you're going to watch this while you're doing said GoFest. So for those of you that do, I appreciate y'all. Do me a huge favor. Please like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. And those were some pretty sweet battles. I hope y'all enjoyed the madness. I hope y'all enjoyed the beams. Beam down. Always beam. Yeah. Beam. Always go for the beam. Beam out. Beam out. That's all I gotta say. But yes, I hope y'all enjoy the battles. I hope y'all have a wonderful GoFest. GoFest is for 2 days, so you'll have 2 days of a chance of doing it. As far as me, I don't know if I'll do a GoFest video. I might do a GoFest video, but I'm mostly going to be playing at home. I don't really want to go outside because COVID and, well, I don't really mind COVID. I'm just going to wear my mask. But I'm basically super lazy, and all my friends are traveling right now, so some of them are outside, so I won't even play with them. So that's perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine with kind of just instancing this GoFest away and then getting ready for Seattle, which I will be going to, by the way. But do have a wonderful GoFest. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see y'all on the next video.